Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to start with our new project or a new technology, that is Node.js, and we are going to build a backend server that handles an API. So we are basically going to build a RESTful API for expense tracking, right? So this is just a small project to understand the CRUD operations. There's nothing big in this, but what we're going to make is we are going to make an expense tracking RESTful API, right? That tracks our daily expenses. So what should our API include? So the first thing our API should include is that it should be able to register new user using JWTs, right? Or you can also say register a new user or create and verify JWTs token, right? For managing authentication and user sessions, right? So what this is trying to say is that we need to use JSON web tokens for signing and sign up feature. And another feature includes our CRUD operation. But in CRUD operation, how we retrieve our data is the key feature, right? So here you can see we have to apply a filter on our view, right? So what is view? So basically the view will just fetch all the data from our database, and we don't need to fetch all our data. So based on the filter we are going to fetch our data. So what our aim is, you need to include the following filters. So what are the filters? So we need to extract all the expense, right? We need to extract all the expense from the past week, from the previous month, from last 3 months, right? And a custom range that we should specify from own start and end dates, right? And another thing is add a new expense. That is, we will add a new expense, updating, like deleting existing expense and modifying existing expenses, right? So this is basic CRUD operation that we are going to do. But what we are going to mainly focus on is implementing this filter, right? Filter feature in our API. So let me show you a similar feature where I have taken this reference from is this one. So this is a basic timeline with the API. This is free, so you can use this API to make a project. So what this API does is it will just return a JSON or data for specific locations with the forecasting, right? So here you can see we have endpoints, that is our timeline endpoint, and in that timeline endpoint we have two things, that is our location. So we have to pass this location because this is the main parameter in this. Because without location, you see, you can't get the forecasting, right? And then another is this range. So it basically says I want data from date 1 to date 2, right? So I want all the data residing between date 1 and date 2 for this location, right? So without this location we will get usually any random location from the, or a predefined location that is set up by the developers. Now what we are going to do is we are going to implement this same feature in our expense tracker over here, right? And then we have to build an JSON web token to secure our endpoint. So without login or without a user sign up, user cannot use our API, right? And identify the requester. So which user has logged in and who is trying to access our API, we are going to identify them using JSON web token, right? Now we are going to set categories in our model like groceries, leisures, electronics, and so on, right? Okay, so now let's dive into the coding part of our project. So over here I've just made an folder named expense tracker, and we are going to start coding, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to open a terminal, and we are going to initialize our npm. So we'll say init, and we will say let it, what we are going to name our package. We don't want anything, just press and enter. And okay, so our package.json is created, right? So now what I want to do is I want to just add a start script over here. That will be our index.js, and in front of it, okay, we can add node.mon, but I have installed it globally, so it's not required over here. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to install all the packages that we are going to use in our project. So for the first one, we need Express. So we'll just say express Express, and then we need a Mongoose for our database. We are going to use MongoDB. So we need Mongoose. So we'll just say Mongoose, M-O-N-G-O-O-S-E, right? Mongoose. And then we are going to use Bcrypt, B-C-R-Y, PTJS, right? So it's bcrypt.js, sorry, bcrypt.js for having our password and storing it and comparing the password and all the functional related to passwords, right? And then we will, we need JSON web tokens, so we'll just say JSON web tokens, sorry, token for our JWT login and sign up features, and then we will use .env .env for accessing our environmental variables. You see, you can't keep the passwords of your anything password of your databases or credentials or API keys. You see in a code, right? So you need to put it in a environmental folder so it is secure. And we will use chorus for securing our API. Then press enter, and our MPN will do the rest of the work. Okay, so now we have installed all the packages that we need for our project. So we'll just clear our screen. And what we are going to do is we are going to make our server. So for our server, we need index.js, whatever file name you have kept over here, you have to name it over here, right? Now in that, first of all, we need our express. So we'll just say exp, our express is equal to require, and in that we'll say, okay, in that we'll say sorry, express, right? And then what we need is we need mongoose. Like, we are going to make it, but let's first create a server. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say const app is equal to express, right? So we have created our express. Also we can use, you see, we can have our port number in an env file, but it's okay, let's keep it over here for now, and then we will add it in our env file. So for now, we are going to do is we are going to just say, so we will just say app dot listen on port number, anything you can say 5000, right? You can say any port number you want, just make sure no other services is running on that port number, and it take a callback function. So we'll just do this callback function, right? And what we are going to do in that is we are just going to log that our server is running, right? Also you say you can make an URL that you can just click and open it, but it's okay. Now just we need to add app.get. So for the first get on the, so uh, we create a endpoint for our get request for the first time. So we'll just say response, sorry, request from our response, and then we'll just say this one. Now what we're going to do is just return, response dot send, and we will just say okay. We're just creating a small server, right? So now we can open our postman. Before it, let's start our server npm. We can just say mongoose. uh, okay, node.mon. It will just start over and watch every time we're running. So you can see server is running, and we just need to listen on 5,000. So over here you can see, you can just say 5,000 and send our request. And as you can see, we have got our okay over here. Now, as you can see, we got okay, so our service is built and running, right? So now what we have to do is we have to connect our mongoose. Before that, let's create an MVC architecture, that is our view, model, and controllers. So what we are going to do is we are just going to create a controller folder, controllers, right? Then we are going to make a not here in expense models folder, and another folder for middlewares, middleware, MWDLE, okay. And then for our routes, right? So we need these basic folders so that we can separate or segregate our code, so we make it more readable and more cleaner. Now, in what we need is we need to add our env file, because now it's time to connect with our database. So we'll just say env file, and in that we are going to set our URL to our MongoDB, right? So what will be our MongoDB URL? Mongo underscore URL is equal to, here we'll paste our MongoDB URL. So from where we will get this MongoDB URL? So for now, we'll just say compass. We have our MongoDB compass. Okay, here it is. MongoDB. Okay, here it is. MongoDB compass. So MongoDB compass is basically the UI or a GUI based application that simplifies working with MongoDB. Also, you can use command line if you want, but let's just connect to localhost over here, and then we will just say to connection info. And sorry, I just want to copy the connection string. So whatever string will be, we will just paste over here, and we will add a database name for our expen expense. Sorry, expen expense, expen as expense tracking API. Well, it will work. You can name whatever you want, but I'm going to name it like this. Also, whatever variables that are critical for our application, we are going to put it over here and then access it in our project, right? So for now, we have created an env file. So to access our env file, we have to use .env that we just installed, right? So what we'll do is just say const dot env is equal to require dot env, right? Also, we need to use our mongoose for connecting with our database. So we'll just say mongoose query QUI require MONG mongoose, right? So we have our mongoose over here. Now, what we need to do is we need to configure. So we just say .env.config, right? It will do the work. And then what we need to do is we need to connect our mongoose. So what we'll do is we'll just say mongoose dot connect, and this connect function will take the URL. So from where we will get the URL? So we'll just say process dot env, right? Environment, which env dot what we have just our we will just say what we have just skipped it, mongo URL. Just copy it over here and paste it, mongo URL, right? Then what these functions require is two things, a then and a catch, right? So we'll just say dot then, sorry, dot then, and dot then takes a callback that is say that says when what will then do is whenever the connection is established and it is successful, then it will run this callback, or else it will run the catch catch callback, right? So we'll just say dot 10, and in that we will just log simply like this console dot log. We will say MongoDB connected. Sorry, MongoDB connected, and we'll just say dot 10 over here, right? Yeah. So we can just say dot 10, sorry, dot catch, and it also requires a callback. So we'll just say this one over here, right? So what will this do is it will just say error that will point to logging where, right? So I think it's fine, but you see, we don't need to build a function like this. We can just pass it over here and pass this error over here, and I think it will be good to go, right? So we can do like this because we have to just pass error into it. Nice. So you can oversee over here you can see that our MongoDB is connected. Also, what we can do is we can get this function and put it over here. Now let's see what we will get. Okay, MongoDB is connected and server is running. So what we have done is we have just did one thing, that we just make our app listen to port number 5000 whenever our MongoDB is connected. Else we just get an error, right? So we have successfully created our server that is connected to our MongoDB, right? Now what we have to do is we have to